Hello everyone, welcome back to the Ultimate Fighting Casual. So today we've gone for a little bit of a different style video, sort of like a fight theory video, just having a little bit of fun with it, talking about some stuff we both had in our mind and been talking about in our friend group and stuff. As there's no card there's a card this weekend with Overeem, but there's not too much going on, and the weekend just gone, there was nothing on, and I thought instead of doing like a reaction style video, we'd actually mix it up a little bit and do a different style.
So we want to talk about Stipe versus Ngannou coming up. Oh my god.
I'm so excited for this fight, mate. Oh my god. I'm really excited. It's going to be an absolute banger, right? It's going to be an absolute fucking banger. But there's one major point we've been fucking going on about for ages, right? I want to let you talk about that.
And it's just Stipe being disrespected by the bookies.
And the media as well. Like as a whole.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, we were talking that there's always a question mark around Stipe before he fights. And I think that was very warranted with the third DC fight, because obviously 1-1, it was a proper trilogy going into it. But having won that fight and put on the performance that he has and just shown the class, I can't understand why he's such a massive underdog. Yeah. If you put £10 on Stipe, you get £22, £22.5 back.
You get over double your money back for Stipe. This is the champion of the fucking world.
With the most defences in the UFC.
The most to back up his point, to back up against. Why shouldn't he have that then? Why shouldn't he? Well, he literally has the resume to back that up. That's what doesn't make any fucking sense. You put £10 on Ngannou, you're going to get like 16 quid back. Yeah. That's ludicrous. That is absolutely ludicrous. We'll go into why we think certain things, but. I don't understand where the disrespect comes from. I don't know if it's some of the factors that I'm going to mention as to why I think that Stipe's at a bit of a disadvantage going into this fight. But that's just me being like a fan and a fan armchair opinion. If you're a bookies, it's sort of a bit ludicrous. But like we were saying, the bookies don't win off of doing that. No. They don't, do they? Because unless they want everyone to go towards Ngannou just for the sake of Stipe win, that's the way that they would win it. But I feel like a lot of people, if you just know the sport even a little bit, you would go for Stipe. If you're putting your money on something, you'd go for Stipe, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. In terms of what we've seen and overall skill set in the octagon, it's not a question.
No, it's not a question,
I don't understand how it is so disrespectful towards Stipe. So looking at the actual fight breakdown itself, I think Stipe's boxing is too clean, and for a big fella, his head movement is unbelievable in terms of staying off the centre line and missing those bombs.
And that's really important against Ngannou. I think that is pretty much going to be like a key part to winning that fight 100%. Is the head movement, and the fact that his is so elite, and the fact that he can stay out of the way of those bombs that Ngannou is going to throw. Yeah. Wow, that's going to be really impressive, right? If he can do it, I think that's got to be the main goal going into this fight, because that's actually my point about talking about the last fight, is Stipe took way too much damage. The reason he lost the DC fight is because of the damage he took against Ngannou. That is 100% accurate, and a lot of people share that opinion as well. I'm not going to entirely pretend that I made that opinion up. I have heard stuff like that. I've looked back at it. It's 100% accurate, right? Stipe is a 38-year-old man with insane injuries. He's talks about them openly loads.
Absolutely.
His eye is in bits, absolute bits. With these factors, right, no matter how of an elite level you are, and we've seen this with fighters before, no matter how much of an elite level you are, when you are in an octagon with Francis Ngannou walking towards you, right, we saw what happened that second round. And granted, Stipe schooled him for the other three. Schooled him and absolutely won that fight, no doubt. However, he's had 5 fights since then, right? 5, you said?
Yeah, Ngannou,
And how? And tell the people how he won those fights, man. Well, that's what's going to happen.
Absolutely. If you look at Ngannou, he's just carried on strength to strength. After his Stipe fight, he fought Derek Lewis, lost a decision, and it frankly was quite a boring fight. Adesanya Romero vibes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not very much action at all, so don't save yourself 15 minutes, don't watch it. A fantastic wrestler in Curtis Blades, he knocked him out in the first round. Obviously he wasn't tested, but he didn't need to be.
No, exactly. And 1 round knockout's fair enough at that point.
It speaks for itself, doesn't it? And Cain Velasquez, the other... If you're talking about goats of heavyweight, you've got DC, Stipe and Cain Velasquez for me.
Yeah, and a lot of people would say Cain's top, especially for people that have watched 20, 30 years or whatever. So 100%. You have that, that's massive. And like you said about earlier to me, is wrestling, etc. Going against that. Not Ngannou, you know what I meant. Going against that style is... like I said, it didn't need to get to that point, but the fact that it was just, it must have been his training. That's what I'm getting at. Do you know what I mean? If a fighter knows when they're coming against someone like Stipe, who, look, he went against DC and managed to, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that Ngannou can look at this fight and think, fuck, Stipe has got some stuff that can shut me down here. Like, his head movement's phenomenal, and I reckon, I think like his... I think that Stipe could like keep taking this to the floor again, like he did last time. I think he could go down that route, but I actually think that what you said was accurate in terms of his boxing's better.
Yeah.
And I think he'll stand with him.
100%.
I think he'll stand with Ngannou. I do.
And are you going to try and shoot a big double leg? Looking at the Overeem knockout, that uppercut is like
It's very, very valid.
Yeah,
it's very valid.
You better be careful changing levels on him. So.
Yeah. Said that about Hooker.
Yeah. So for the second section, this video, we want to talk about the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, man.
Coming back, who they're going to be fighting, what it's going to look like, if they're going to fight.
Are they going to fight? That's the thing. Are they going to fight? I think you have more of a chance of Nate fighting. Right? There's way more of a chance of Nate fighting just because he's been more active and look, there's a list of reasons, right? I think that with Nate, it's more spectacle rather than sport, right? I do think that is a bit of a pay-per-view thing. I'm not saying that Nate can't throw hands with someone, can't do a good fight. All of those things are valid. But in terms of the sport of the UFC, you'd have to agree that, come on, if he's going to come back, it's probably going to be for pay-per-view and a bit of like nostalgia, a bit of cool. He's not going to make a title run. He's not going to be around long enough, that sort of thing. And you know what? Fucking do it.
Yeah.
I said it in the last video. You can't. It's the perfect fight for Conor. It's the perfect fight for Conor right now because if he wins, in everyone's eyes, he's a champion. He looks great, and he can. Then his name can be thrown into the further hat with the Poiriers, etc. But he's not there now, and it's so good for the pay-per-view and for the sport. And I think I'd really like to see Nate back. What about you?
I would as well, and I think he's such an interesting character. He's so that game fightingness. We all love to see it, and I think that there's a respect that we all have for him, and we want to see him back inside. In terms of who against, I think there are quite a few really good options. You've mentioned Conor, which I think in terms of money and that sort of side, pay-per-view buys, it absolutely makes more sense. But in terms of the fights I would like to see, I'd like to see him fight either Hooker or a Rafael dos Anjos.
That's a good shout, actually. I think Hooker's a really good shout, actually. That's a fight you could say that Hooker could need, and it's a good fight for that. I talk about this a lot with like my mates and how I'm not really too much of a fan of Masvidal. I don't actually think he's anywhere nearly as highly as good as people rate him. I really don't. I don't think he's top 5 in the division. I really don't. And I think that the Nate was a big filler fight for him, and it made him look 10 times better than what he is. 10 times better than what he is. And sorry, that's not to get carried away on Masvidal, but what I mean is Nate isn't just a filler fighter. That's not trying to disrespect Nate. But like I said, if he comes in, he's going to make the money. That's what he wants, isn't it? He knows he's not going to make a title run. So against Hooker, someone who's come off the back of 2 losses, someone who's to redeem himself, someone who's going to put everything on the line. And you know Nate is.
Absolutely. He's game as they come. I'd like to see him fight Gaethje after that, because we've just had a couple of little back and forth. Absolutely.
Slug fest.
They're just, nobody's getting knocked out and there's just going to be blood everywhere.
I would actually just see that in more like the Masvidal fight or the Ferguson fight. Just the ref just has to wave it because the damage is just too brutal.
Yeah, neither of these guys are going to stop.
No, mate.
Yeah.
It'll be brutal.
Absolutely.
Hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he does.
I agree. Obviously, we talked about Nate. We want to have a look at what Nick Diaz is doing. Now, neither of us have really seen his fights live, and we'll admit that openly.
Absolutely.
But I still want to see him fight, and I think there are some really, really good scraps he can have.
And I think if you're looking back on sort of why would you want Nick back, right? What would you actually want him for? I think, I know, okay, this may just be like me being like the spectacle fan that I am, but if you just look at the Anderson Silva fight, you just look at his behaviour, his attitude, you need that. Absolutely. And we have that in the UFC right now. We absolutely do. But look, 2021, bringing both of them, the Diaz brothers back, if they're both around each other at the same time, they're both like on the same card. This is what I think is going to happen. Be ridiculous. They're going to be on the same card.
Absolutely. That's going to be so much entertainment.
That's what you want.
And I'll tell you another reason why I think it's even more likely is because of the rule change this year with cannabis coming off of the banned list in terms of substances fighters can have in their system leading up to a fight and
that's massive for them too, as we know. So hopefully now that's sorted, that will bring them back.
Absolutely. In terms of who I'd like to see him fight, I think that there's kind of like a 170 Legends division floating around out there. We've heard it talked about with Dan Hardy, Carlos Condit, Matt Brown, Cerrone.
Okay.
I'd really like to see him.
So you would sort of like a Legends tournament mini edition?
Yeah, a little sort of, because
that would be really interesting.
They're fights that will be good. And
they would be. And they'd get fans behind them, and they'll be highly anticipated by people. People will really have sort of, if you know you're going to watch a card and you've got Cerrone, Nick, you've got, who was the other names you throw in there? Who was it you just said? The second name you said. It's a really good scrapper.
Carlos Condit.
Like people like them, that would be so good. Like, them fights aren't going to be low level or shit just because they're older, more veteran guys. No, 100%. They will be just as good, and I'm completely fucking down for that. Okay, so the last topic we want to talk about is the middleweight division. Now, an interesting division for sure, right? We've got some scraps coming up that we've like talked about and we know about. March, is it March they're in, right? The title fight's in April, actually, isn't it?
So
13th of April, end of March, early April. So a few months away. We've got time. That's really important for me, though. And looking at a particular fighter, especially from over here, is Darren Till. Now, I wasn't much of a fan of him at the beginning. I'm really not going to lie. Morris definitely got me more onto him. Mainly because he's a Scouser and I'm a United fan. But Morris definitely got me more onto him. But the thing is, right, with Till is I really feel like he needs to win this fight. I think this is massive for him. And I don't want to be that reactionary guy, but if he does lose this fight, it's really bad for him. It's really bad for him. I think that... I don't know, like, I don't want to say too much in it. I do want to talk more about Till just because of the English side of it, and that's someone I find a connection with. So I don't know what you think about it. You've watched him a lot more closely. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think I'd agree with you in saying that he absolutely needs this win for his career. Coming off the Whittaker loss, it's tough. And losing to Robert Whittaker is no embarrassing thing.
No, absolutely.
But that being said, this middleweight division is absolutely full of killers.
It is.
If you don't come back and get that W and follow it up well, then the title shot, you can forget about it. Because
you can.
Nobody's getting close to Adesanya right now.
Exactly. And look who you've got to get through, right? That's one thing that we sort of mentioned. Again, it's still in the middleweight division. So, look, Robert Whittaker, he has fought murderers. If he beats Costa, right, the title fight's undeniable. But 100%. Before we get into that, look at the fighters he's fought. Till would almost have to go through like a similar style of run of difficulty at least. Do you know what I mean? The levels in that division are staggering. And I think that, like you said, Till wants to make that run. He is that fighter. He could be that fighter, in my opinion. He absolutely can be. But look, he has to show it now more than ever, in my opinion. And I really, really hope he does.
100%. Vittori is no mug, though. And I think looking at his performance against Hermansson, it shows that he is going to have to deal with some problems. Vittori is really well-rounded. And he's going to offer him a lot of different things. Overall, though, I do back Darren to do it. And I think he has got the class 100%. And the skill. I think his Muay Thai, his stand-up is just too powerful. I don't see Vittori being able to handle it for more than 3 rounds. I think he'll get it done in 2.
Hope so. Is it a 3-round fight?
No, it's a 5-round fight.
It's a 5-round
main event.
Okay, that's interesting.
I know we're not making predictions in this, but I think that Till is just...
Till's going to come out on top. Me too. I do agree with that. I just, when someone, especially from your own country, just sort of, oh my God, please fucking 100%. Win, mate. Like, you got to win. You have to win.
We'll back him.
100%.
Like a massive number 1 contenders fight, we've got Whittaker versus Costa, and oh my God. I really think Whittaker should be fighting for the belt already.
Me too. He didn't need to take this fight. We all said it, right? When our friend sent to the group chat, we all said he doesn't need to take this fight. 100%. That was ballsy by Whittaker. I assume it's... Look, say what you want. I assume this is a little bit of a payday thing. I'm not going to lie. I think that is a massive factor. I would like to almost hear more from fighters and how much that does influence situations. How many take, the sports side of it and their career length over the money. And that sounds silly, but look, taking a fight right now is massive. It's massive, right? To get booked in and to be where the UFC is right now, how good it's done throughout these hard times. If you can get yourself on that fight will be massive, right? But it doesn't actually do much for Whittaker. That's the weird thing about this, right? So again, it has to be financial, I feel like. I don't know what else it is. What else is it?
Yeah,
you tell me.
I mean, I'm not actually giving it that much thought, so I think that's a very interesting point. I think that you're right. In terms of the competitive side of things, Whittaker doesn't need this fight. He's proven that he should be the next one at the belt. Obviously, there were a few back and forth with his comments about our weight, and we'll see. Dana didn't like that, but look, I think that he is the second champ of this division, obviously, and I really think we need to see that Adesanya rematch.
Absolutely, I think we'll get that.
I'm really worried, though, that we won't. Paulo Costa, even though he got completely embarrassed and dismantled by Adesanya, is one of the scariest strikers we've ever seen.
And I think people have forgot that.
100%.
I think this is a sort of a similar to like a Khabib sort of fight in terms of like Izzy, in terms of when Khabib fights someone, he embarrasses his opponent so much that the levels between them is so different. Do you know what I mean? And they look like they're worse than what they are, like the person that lost.
Yes.
So with Izzy, what I'm saying is, Izzy destroys Costa. He is just levels above Costa, but Costa loses stock to everyone and sort of, Costa's nothing, Whittaker will blast him. No, that's not actually necessarily true. 100%. I still think that Costa can do a number here on Whittaker.
I agree, and I think that Whittaker needs to come in as sharp as he's ever been to win this fight, because Costa, you even look down to the little bodybuilding things and look at his kind of psyche and personality. It's obvious that he has an ego and that he likes to build into that. So losing in the way that he lost, the disrespect that was given to him, he's going to want to make a statement and come back as bad as ever. So
that's
I'm worried.
So true, mate.
I'm worried for Whittaker.
What a scrap.
It's going to be a scrap though.
Okay, so we're going to wrap the video up there. We've talked about some really cool subjects today. I thought it was good just to get our general opinions on some other UFC stuff. Sort of when we started this channel, and not to get into it, but look, we didn't quite know the direction we were going to take every video in. And I think that when you get these nice little breaks in between, it's good to mix up the content, isn't it?
Absolutely, and just have fun with it, and obviously get a bit more comfortable, and just keep going through the motions because we really enjoy it.
Absolutely, and if you like this sort of fun sort of style content, there's one place you need to head over to.
100%. Check the Instagram out because little jokey things,
little
updates,
just fun shit. It's all on that, updates, all of it. So make sure you go check that out. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Boy 50. Boy 50. Control.